Hey everybody, welcome back to My Wings of Refuge. So last week we talked about starting our kombucha in the first fermentation process, and this week we're going to turn this raw kombucha into our flavored kombucha ready to drink. So let's get started with the second fermentation. Okay, so before we get started with the second fermentation, the first thing we want to do is go ahead and reserve 1 cup per gallon of the actual raw kombucha. This is what we have here, just raw kombucha. And so it's not flavored, it's not anything, it's just ready now for the second fermentation. This bowl holds 8 cups. Now we're just going to sit this in a safe place. So we want to take off our lids. Okay, so for each jar here, you will see the old and the new SCOBY. Can you see that? They're actually pretty tough, and we're just going to peel them apart. There we go. So you have the old one you started with and your new one. So we're ready for the next phase. So since I'm doing 7.5 gallons, I have figured out it takes me 30 quart jars. So I have all my jars here clean and ready, and now I'm ready to add in some juice. This, I would love to do another video sometimes just on flavoring, because there's so many things you can do with flavors, but the bottom line is you want real, pure juice. Nothing added. You don't want extra added sugars, extra added chemicals, or anything like that. You want just real juice. I love this brand. It's called Just Blueberry. I have several, Just Black Cherry, and even I have some apple here too. But these are great because of the ingredients. When I look at the ingredients, it says filtered water and blueberry juice concentrate. That's all that's in the ingredients here. And so this makes some really good kombucha. What you want to do with these jars, I go through first and I add in about 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup of just your pure juice in each one of these jars. And that is per this size jar. So if you're new to drinking kombucha and you have not been drinking it, you may not, it may be a little sour at first for you. I instantly really liked it. The first couple of drinks were a little bit weird, a little bit different. The more I drank it, the more I drank it, the more I liked it. The more I drank, and the more I drank, I'm in love with it. And so it can be a bit of an acquired taste, so give it a try or two. But when you're making it at home, one of the things you can do is add a little bit more juice if it's too sour for you. Or if you've let your batch go longer than the 2 weeks, and you can taste it along the way. And if it tastes where you want it to not be sweet, where it's cooked out all the sugar, but you don't want it to be too sour. If you let it go too long, it will taste like vinegar. And where that's even better for you, it can be harder to drink. And so if in the event it does go too far and it gets too sour for you, just add a little bit more juice into it. Okay? That will solve the problem. In the meantime, I add about that much juice. I don't really measure anymore, but it's between 1/4 and 1/3 of a cup of juice. That works out about perfectly to me. Another thing you can do is when you look on your juice jars here, on the back, it'll tell you how much natural sugars are in here. This blueberry only has 17 grams of natural sugars, and so it won't be real sweet. Some of them can be much sweeter. This one has 33 natural sugars in it, and so it will be a sweeter drink. If you're worried about it being too tart, add a little bit more juice. It won't hurt. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go through and I'm going to fill all of these jars and get them labeled, and then we'll fill them with the kombucha. So when it comes to flavoring your kombucha, it can be so much fun. In this batch that I'm doing here, I do have some just plain blueberry, but here I'm using black cherry juice. So I decided, why not add a little bit of vanilla to my cherry? So I'm going to take probably not even, maybe a half of a teaspoon, if that, just to add in it doesn't take much. That's one way to make it a little more fun and add a little bit more pizzazz. Okay, so for flavoring, next up we have pear. Where pear doesn't offer just a ton of flavor by itself, though it is not bad. We do it often by itself, but it's all mild enough that I love to add in some additional flavoring. So from my favorite tea exchange store, this is probably my absolute favorite tea ever, and it is called the Berry Bouquet. I've had this for a while. Let's see if I can find the ingredients. Rose hips, hibiscus flower, apple pieces, orange peel, strawberries, wild cherries, marigold flowers, and lemongrass. This is a favorite. All these dried berries, and we're going to add that right into our pear juice. It will be amazing. Okay, last one for today. We're going to use an apple juice again, and this time we're going to use my second best favorite ever, okay? It is from the Tea Exchange, and it is Blue Raspberry Crush. I love this tea. The ingredients on it are lemongrass. I think I love lemongrass. Butterfly pea flowers, rose petals, cornflowers, and raspberry leaves. And we're going to put this into our apple juice for flavoring that we will call Raspberry Crush. Okay, we have all of our jars filled, and all we're ready to do now is fill them with the raw kombucha all the way to the top, as full as we can get them. This makes me so excited. These flavors, oh my goodness, they make me excited. Okay, so we have got all of our jars filled, and so for my 7.5 gallons, we have 30 jars filled. And now we want to let these sit in a cool, darker place where there's no direct sunlight for anywhere from 1 to 4 days. What I did the very first time is I took several of them and I labeled them 1, 2, 3, and 4. On day 1, I would put the number 1 in the refrigerator. On day 2, the second one. On day 3, the third. And on day 4, the fourth. And I tasted each one to see where I liked it the best. I think Vaughn and I have discovered we like ours between 2 and 3 days. On the first day, it is smoother and sweeter. As you go up to the 4th day, it gets less sweet, a little more carbonated. And so I don't really like carbonated drinks, so I don't really like a whole lot of carbonation. However, these don't make, in 4 days, it won't make the carbonation like a carbonated drink, but it will be carbonated, it will be fizzy. This is contents under pressure, so be careful with that. So you'll just have to judge where you want it to be between 1 and 4 days. If you want it to be super carbonated, you may let it go longer than that. Just be really careful because, again, it is contents under pressure. You don't want any spewing or anything like that going on. So after the end of my 2.5 days, 2 or 3 days, I then will move them all to the refrigerator. That will stop the second fermentation process. That will stop it from getting more carbonated, more fermented. And inside each one of these jars, after it stops fermenting and you've moved them to the refrigerator, will form a baby SCOBY inside the jar. That's why when I pour a glass to drink, I often use a small strainer when I'm pouring it in my glass. Not a big deal. Sometimes I don't. I have swallowed and ate some of these little mini SCOBYs in here. They won't hurt you. They're actually incredibly good for you. They just are a little slimy, so they may not be real palatable. And so, that is just what I do. I use the little strainer. Now, these little SCOBYs that they're forming is not the SCOBY you would want to use to start a batch. It's going to be flavored whatever flavor it is you have in your jar. So that's typically not the one that you would want to use. However, if you have a dog who is very gassy, that dog will probably love those itty bitty baby SCOBYs, and it will really take care of your dog's gassy problem. Y'all, thanks so much for watching our second fermentation process. And it gets me just so excited because I know here now in about 2 to 3 days I'll have these in the refrigerator and they'll be ready for me to drink. And I know you're probably wondering, so how much do I actually drink per day? I usually will drink a glass full, usually every morning with my breakfast. That's usually what I drink per day, unless I've ate something heavy or my stomach just doesn't feel 100%, or sometimes when I go out to eat, we have date night and we might eat Mexican food or a pizza or something like that. I will have an extra glass then. If I have company over and everyone's drinking kombucha, I may have a glass then. But on your typical average day, I will usually drink about a glass full each morning with my breakfast. So have a great day, y'all. Thanks for watching. Hey, give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. In the future, I hope to do several videos just from time to time on flavorings. I like to do some really crazy, exotic, different flavors because I don't want to drink the same flavors all the time, and I like to do some things seasonal. So stay tuned in the future for some of that as well. So have a great day. I'll see you next week.